What up, wheel nerds? Welcome back to Ryan Wheels Builds. What up, wheel nerds, and welcome back to Ryan Builds Wheels. If you've not been here before, then welcome. This is the first part in my series teaching you how to build the best wheels that you can, either at home or in your workshop. This is going to be a series of clear, high quality, concise, step-by-step videos where I break down the tools, techniques and shortcuts that you're going to need to make the best wheels that you can. I want to get rid of the idea that wheel building is some mystical art known only to the chosen few, and to show you that really it's a craft that anyone can learn. So today we're going to go through all the tools that you need to build wheels. And don't forget, this is just part one of the series. Follow along. And as the weeks go by, we're going to build up into crafting you a pair of kick-ass wheels made by your very own hands. Just a real quick shout out, I do have a Patreon account. It's just started. You can find out more in my 1000 subscribers video. But in short, I take time out of my normal working week to bring this content to as many of you as possible for free. And if you can afford to support me in any way, that'd be great. Patreon members either get shout-outs in video, right up to a bunch of discounts on spokesfromryan.com. So if you're buying a bunch of tools, then your subscription's pretty much going to pay for itself. Go check it out. In this video, I'm going to talk you through all of the tools that you're going to need to build the best wheels you possibly can. Now, obviously, with any kind of tooling, the sky really is the limit, but you don't need the crazy multi-thousand-pound professional rigs that I've got here in-house just because I want to. And spending a few £100s to dollars is going to do you just fine. Even better, if you've only got a tenner to your name or you don't want to sink huge amounts into learning to build wheels, seriously, you can build it using just these three tools. They are a cheap spoke key, a pair of zip ties, and a spoke. That's it. So we'll bring a full demo to you in the future, but in short, you're going to need something to assemble your spokes and nipples with, and that's where this tool comes in. This is going to act as a rudimentary nipple assembly tool. You wind a spare nipple onto the spoke, you then attach the nipples that you're using, and you can now use that to wind that onto your spokes for the wheel. You can now use your frame and forks as a rudimentary truing stand. If you've got rim brakes, of course, you could use your calipers and your disc brakes. Otherwise, a pair of zip ties attached to your stays or your fork will allow you to use the frame as a rudimentary truing stand, as I just said. You'd set one up to do lateral, that's side-to-side movement, and one up to do radial movement. You can move them around. You might need to cut them off. You might need to spend a few extra pennies on more than 2 zip ties. Finally, the Spokey Pro from Rixson & Cool is my go-to suggested cheap spoke key. Make sure you get the Pro version with 2 inserts. There is a much cheaper one that's only got one little steel insert in there, but you really run the risk of stripping your nipples like that, and I can't recommend it. It's a couple of quid extra. Buy one. Those are the 3 super cheap tools that you could build a wheel with anywhere. Let's move on to a more thorough collection. Tool number 1. You need a pair of ERD sticks. ERD sticks are super simple, and I do have another video about this already. In short, you need a way of measuring your rims, and ERD sticks are the simplest and reasonably accurate way of doing that at very low cost. Tool number 2. I'm going to run out of fingers if I do that. Tool number 2 is a pair of Vernier calipers. You're going to need to measure your hubs so that you can put your hub measurements and your rim measurements together to perform a spoke calculation. By the way, you're going to need the internet too. That's kind of a tool, isn't it? We'll do spoke calculations later in the series. Vernier calipers, a few options. Doesn't matter whether you got them digital, whether they're analog, or whether they're these cheap little plastic things like this that I picked up for students, or a pair of higher end digital calipers that you've already got lying around or want to treat yourself to. It's worthwhile saying that we're going to be measuring our hubs to the nearest 0.5 millimeters. You really don't need to go crazy on this one. I think I picked up these plastic metal look-alike things for like a £5 each online, and you'll see that their resolution is to 0.1 mil and that their accuracy is 0.2 mil. Now, when it comes to measuring things really precise, that's pretty shitty, but honestly, it's just wheels. Something like this is going to do you just fine. Vernier calipers. Number 3, you're going to need a spoke ruler. The spoke ruler is going to help you to measure your rim with your ERD sticks, but it's also a crucial tool for if you accidentally get all your spokes mixed up and need to remind yourself which length of spoke you're meant to be working with at any one time. I personally like the Cyclo spoke ruler because its contrast is really nice. You got a nice shiny, clean stainless steel surface, and all of the numbers are easy to read along the edge. It also comes with ball bearing gauges, spoke gauges, and this great little section which allows you to find out size of nipple flat you've got on the nipples that you are using, so that's always pretty handy. Just a very quick word about spoke length. Please remember that spoke length is measured from the inside of the J-bend, and that's what this area on a spoke ruler is for. Therefore, you put this in here and read along the spoke's length. This, for example, is a 238mm spoke. If you measure the total length of the spoke from the outside of the J-bend, you'll have your spoke lengths wrong and you'll have to start all over again. Tool number 4, some form of lube. Always lube your nipples. I'm not doing that joke again, it gets real fucking old real fucking quick. There are a few different lubricants that you can use, but in short, something is always better than nothing. So, you might just want to use a good quality chain lube that you've got lying around. You could use some old motor oil. Lots of people, myself included, quite like using boiled linseed oil. Boiled linseed oil is great because it dries hard and gives you a slight amount of friction within the threads, as well as being an excellent weatherproofer. Here in house, I use 2 particular products that I've sourced as well. Before I go any further with the thread locker, there's going to be a bunch of you that want to turn up on the comments and say, oh, a well-built wheel should never use thread locker. And you're right, a well-built wheel is going to hold itself together due to its tension and tension balance. We'll go into that much later. However, you're adding a small amount of security, and before you get on those comments, the point being is that this is a weatherproofing technique. More on that later in the series. That's some good shit, man. Boiled linseed oil. Number 5, nipple assembly tools. At some point in your build, you're going to need something to be able to drop nipples into the rim. Nipple assembly tools work like this. As mentioned, you could use a spoke. You could also use the plastic insides that you get on, cotton earbuds. Good options exist from Vernier, which uses this little spring-loaded bit here. This is a tool that I've had for a while from Wheel Fanatic, and this is my favourite from BSC Tools. These and many others are something that we'll do a tool shootout in the future. Is that what they're called, Jamie? Tool shootouts?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe.
Number 6, nipple shufflers. Nice to have, not, what's the word I'm looking for? Not essential, but definitely nice to have. In short, a nipple shuffler is a really great way to speed up your workflow. You put your nipples in here, give it a shuffle, and pick your nipples up nice and easy. Here I've got a couple of versions. These nice wooden ones come from Wheel Fanatic over in the States. I really like them, and they come with this nice drip tray. However, because they're nice and bright, I've really come to like the BSC Tools version. 3D printed, real nice. Now, I've mentioned BSC Tools a few times, and I want to give another quick shout out to them because they've been kind enough to give me a really great rate on a lot of the tools that I use during my wheel building weekender classes, where people can come to the workshop and have access to all of these tools and more without the outlay, whilst also learning under my own professional guidance, which is always nice. Additionally, if you head to the BSC Tools website or spokesfromryan.com, they've been kind enough to provide us with a discount code for you, and that discount code is WheelNerd5. You'll get 5% off and I'll get a little kickback. So that's a great way of supporting the channel if you don't want to sign up to that Patreon account that I mentioned. Number 7, nipple drivers. Again, these aren't essential, but they are going to speed things right up. You could use them by hand, and some hand-turned versions are available. I prefer to use them with an electric drill. In the past, the most commonly available one was from Problem Solvers, still an okay tool, especially if you can get it nice and cheap. Brands like DT Swiss make their own drivers for stuff like their proprietary Squawks nipples, and then, hey, guess what? BSC Tools do some of the best ones on the market. And I'm proud to say that along with a few other people from the wheel building community, I was allowed to have a hand in helping design these. They're the best selling tools on the BSC Tools website, and they do them for all types of nipples, be that square drive, Squawks drive, slotted or hex. So something for everyone. Number 8, spoke keys. You're gonna need a spoke key. This is the one tool that you can't get out of having to buy. I've already mentioned the Spokey. The Spokey Pro is a great little spoke key, and you know, it does what it says on the tin. It's a spoke key. Other spoke keys on the market come from Park Tools, Sapim, Vernier, these nice little options from P&K Lee, who I get my own truing stands from. But my favourites, time and time again, are going to be the DT Swiss Proline spoke key. It's light, it's really nice in the hand, and it's got really nice tolerances for the area that it's going to be connecting to your nipples. Again, that means, especially if you're using nicely anodized aluminium nipples, then you're going to have less chance of damaging them. A very quick note on spoke keys. I do recommend you buy a few and find out what works best for you. And additionally, please remember that there are two different patterns to how a spoke key fits. Those are called square and diamond. Here on the Park Tools, you've got a square, as on this Junior key. The diamond is simply a square turned 45 degrees. I much prefer diamond because it's got more contact area with the nipple. The Park Tools one is what's known as a four-sided square. It has a little lip at the top here to support the spoke. Three-sided square spoke keys are faster to work with, but I can't recommend them unless you're being very careful. If you get to too high a tension, you run the risk of stripping the nipple. Buy a four-sided or a diamond spoke key. Number 9, or something, bladed spoke holders. Now, for your first build, you might not want to use bladed spokes, but you might have them around already, or you're just ready to dive in. We're going to cover the use and care of bladed spokes later on in the series. What's important with bladed spokes is that you really do need to combat spoke wind-up. Spoke wind-up is when the torque of the nipple gets high enough to start winding the spoke. That's something that you can combat with round spokes, but with a bladed spoke, you risk snapping it or damaging it beyond repair. That's not going to be good for long-term wheel health. As such, you need a way to hold a bladed spoke whilst you tighten or loosen it within the wheel. You need a way to hold a bladed spoke, especially as you tighten it within the wheel. Quality options, and at quite a low price, come in the form of Park Tools BSH4. It has several sizes of slot for several different blades. Easy peasy. Junior and a few other people make a spoke holder like this, although as noted, it's only for spokes of 1.4 to 2.0 mil. As such, you might need to make some kind of modification, or preferably simply use them on thicker spokes and round spokes. Much like the spoke keys, my favourite bladed spoke holder comes from the DT Swiss Proline range. It supports the blade along quite a section. It's available in two different sizes for blades of up to 1 mil in red or 1.3 mil in black, and what's more, it interfaces seamlessly with the Proline nipple key. What that means is that you don't have an unsupported area of blade in between your nipple and your spoke holder, and between the blade holder. To give you a very quick example, you can see that if I was using a Park Tools version, I'd have this entire area here unsupported, and that can still twist. Heavily recommend DT Swiss's Proline chewing tools. Great kit. I think this is the 10th one. This is the big one, the moment you've all been waiting for. Truing stands. A pair of zip ties can act as your truing stand in a pinch, but seriously, you're going to do a better job with a quality truing stand. There's a bunch of options out there, ranging from a little under £100 all the way up to 15, 16, 2 grand. You don't need the really expensive ones, unless you want to buy them because they're beautiful. You can see them in action in my video, The Beauty of the Hand-Built Wheel. Cheapest option, depending on your own skills, would be something that's homemade. This is a design that Roger Musson over at Wheel Pro has made publicly available, and if you're crafty, then you could make one yourself. We'll have a video about that in the future as well. Generally speaking, when it comes to truing stands, you get what you pay for. If you want to do things properly, inverted commas, then my go-to entry-level truing stand would again be Park Tools TS8. It's available for not a huge amount of money, it can bolt to your workbench, and whilst it's only a single-sided truing stand that's going to slow you down a little bit, for just dicking around in your garage and learning a new skill, then it's perfectly serviceable. You'll be able to true your own wheels and that of clubmates in the future with no problem. Let's start to bring out the slightly bigger guns. This is the Junior Professional Truing Stand, and it used to be quite well priced compared to the option that I recommend for most people. Unfortunately, Junior, I'm calling you out here, it's got really expensive of late, and I think compared to your competitors, it doesn't offer as good a deal as it could. The price needs to come down, or the features need to go up. Nevertheless, these are the truing stands that I use here in-house to teach my students, because I was lucky and got a bunch at a cheaper price back in the past. I'm going to have a video out about how you can modify truing stands like this to have nicer action and be easy easier to use in the future, and I painted them all nice and red. They come with a pair of nice and basic magnetic through axle adapters that attach here. Job's a good one. Speaking of which, if you're running any modern disc brake bike, you've probably got through axles, and I do recommend a through axle adapter of some sort. This one's from BSC Tools, Park Tools do one, a bunch of other ones exist on the market, and I've got a little short about these amazing versions, which are a quick release option from P&K Lee over in Germany. They're lovely, and I bought a load for students because they're the best ones out there. Thumbs up. Let's bring out the big guns. No beating around the bush. If you want to build quality wheels at home and you've got the finances to allow such an investment, the Park Tools TS2 series of truing stands are the best out there. They are the bike shop industry standard and the truing stand that you're most likely to see in a variety of places for doing the job right. Currently, we're on the TS 2.3. It's got much easier adjustment than the Junior stands. I really like all of the plastic knobs. It too comes with their own version of through axle adapters, and all of the actions are super nice. On the front, you'll see that we've got a pair of dial indicators. Now, that is a separate kit and is by no means necessary. It's an additional expense, but if you absolutely get off on knowing that your wheels are as straight and as true as possible, and you want to be hitting known tolerances or are simply a gear nerd, then you can upgrade your Park Tools TS2 stand with a pair of dial indicators. That's how I got started, and I thoroughly recommend it, especially if you're working at a more professional level and you need to give your customer a guaranteed tolerance. You can build excellent wheels without them, but dial indicators are fun. What you don't need is one of these. Buy yourself a P&K Lie Special 250 and one day I'll tell you all about it. But seriously, like £300 to £400 will get you the truing stand that you need. If you just want to perv on tools, go and check out P&K Lee's truing stands. They're a thing of beauty. So I did forget one tool because I was having such fun shooting this video. So you're also going to find a dishing tool quite useful. A dishing tool is used to make sure that your rim is central to your axle when your wheel is being built. Now, you can get away without one of these, and I will show you that during the series. There are many options out there. Some of them aren't great in quality, and therefore my go-to is either the WAG4 or the WAG5 from Park Tools. Let's crack on. Finally, the last tool you're going to need to build quality wheels is a tensionometer of some sort. You can get away without one, and the method that I'm going to teach you throughout this series means that you're going to be able to build quality wheels without a tensionometer. In short, spoke tension balance is one of the most important things to get right when wheel building. A whole range of different tensionometers exist on the market, and once again, Park Tools basic unit, the TM1, would be my go-to suggestion. It's not as accurate, it's not as repeatable, and it's not as high-end of some devices, but it does work. What you're trying to do is find a way of cross-referencing relative spoke tensions compared to each other. You don't need to be absolutely 100% correct, and you also need to know that your tensions aren't way too low or way too high. The Park Tools TM1 comes with a chart, it comes with a gauge to tell you what size of spoke you're using, and it's a sturdy piece of kit. They're about 65 quid online. I like them and use them here in-house to teach students. For those gear nerds out there, then once again, high quality tensionometers that like those from DT Swiss, P&K Lee, who also make them for SAPIM, and a variety of others exist. Grab hold of a high-end Tensio if you really want, but to start with, grab a Park Tools TM1, you can't go wrong. And that's it. Those are all the tools that you're going to need to build quality wheels at home or in the workshop. If you'd like to get fully equipped, then head on over to spokesfromryan.com. You'll find that there I've made a bunch of different tool bundles for a bunch of different budgets, all in one easy one-click setup. And remember, as mentioned, if you're a member of the Patreon community, you'll also get a bunch of different discounts across that website, meaning that your spokes, nipples, and other items are going to be even cheaper. So what's not to lose? Help a hungry wheel builder out and go and chip me a few quid so I can buy some chips. So as I always say, that's it. Thanks very much for watching. It's been great having you along. Hit that like button, hit subscribe so as you can find out when the latest video hits, and leave me a comment down below. Tell me either your favourite wheel building tool, or let me know if you think I've missed anything that's absolutely crucial out that you couldn't build wheels without. See you next time, wheel nerds!